What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of For the Fowlers. I'm Brandon. Here we are. Man, season's done, man. 25-26 season is in the books, but sitting here the first weekend of February, hoping that all the vets that were able to get out this weekend, hopefully everyone had a lot of success. And first and foremost, appreciate all of your service, whether you're active duty, retired. We really appreciate everything that you guys do or did for us. And, obviously gave us the freedom to get out there and do what we love doing most, and that's duck hunting. But that season has come and gone for us. But overall, pretty good season, I would say. You guys have heard me talk on this podcast about, me getting out more than I expected. For those of you guys who've been listening along, I had my son 6 months ago. Fatherhood's been absolutely amazing, and I obviously have an amazing wife an amazing mother to my son who's been able to, do things like allow me to get out and hunt as much as I possibly can, and I really appreciate her being a good partner with that. But yeah, it was a good season. Like I said, got into some birds. There were some hunts where I didn't really do as well as to be expected, and we obviously had some interesting weather throughout the season. But no, it was overall a good year. So looking forward to today's episode. We're going to connect with a few buddies and kind of see how their season went, how their January ended up, and just kind of catch up with them and see what they have coming up in the off season as well. So without further ado, let's get our first guest on. We're going to try to get our buddy Caeton on the line here. So hang tight. All right. What's up, Caeton?
How's it going, Brandon?
Good, man. So that's a wrap. 25-26, man. How was it?
It was a good season. I mean, all things considered, it was a lot of work, but it came together. Not the season I thought I was going to have. Like, it definitely went a different route. I hunted a lot more public land, even though I had my rice leases. But kind of just found myself chasing where I thought the birds might be. Getting a few, I think we hunted with 3 draws this year. So we hunted all 3 of those draws. Yeah. Well, actually, you had a few more that I didn't make it down when they're too far south for me. But overall, it was a good season. What about you?
Yeah, man, I was thinking about it. I mean, obviously, I've been telling folks I've obviously got out way more than I expected I would, just kind of given everything going on at home this season. But, they were hit or miss. I would definitely say I had more better hunts than I did negative hunts. I mean, there were definitely some early in the season where I was just going out, and whether it was watching the sunrise or a couple afternoons watching the sunset, but I also had some hunts where it's like, I wasn't expecting it to be that much of a banger, and you just happened to be sitting on the X that day at the refuge. And, I had a couple hunts where we did better than the refuge average, right? So I'll take that. So we started this thing off, or you started this podcast, and we always say we're not the best hunters, but I was super happy with I feel like a public land hunt is the best way to gauge, just like as you get better in your abilities of going out, getting on birds, setting up spreads. But every time we went out, I remember 5-6 years ago when we started, and I lived and died by the refuge average and everything like that. And it seemed like, man, if I could just get to that'd be sweet. And we smoked it this year. Yeah. Obviously recency bias. And actually, dude, we haven't even talked about this, but my last hunt down at Clay's Club, it just couldn't miss. Just my, one shot, knocking the bird down, stoning them. Right. And of course, that's how things end. And it's like, man, I wish I could come back out tomorrow, or, and fortunately, that was a great way for me to finish my season. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take advantage of the last couple hunt days just because I was traveling for work this past week. But, and what was really cool about it is, I'm not saying I'm shelving the 12 gauge, but the 20 gauge was on, man.
Yeah. You know me, that's what I shot. I shot my 12 gauge one time this season, and it was only because we were supposed to be on a honker hunt.
Sure.
And I was like, screw it. I'm bringing the more pellets out there. It ended up being a duck hunt. I shot ducks with it, but I did 18 hunts with the 20 gauge.
No, and I mean, we've talked about it. I'm obviously been overthinking a lot, shot shells and patterns and, weights and, the speed, all that stuff. And, the 20 gauge shells that I have are just a lot different than the 12 gauge ones that I have. And I was actually really pleased with how it all came together. So I guess that old saying, what is it? It's always the Indian, never the arrow, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's Pete's line.
Yeah. So, but no, it was good, man. So.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good season for me. Like I know we've talked off air a bunch about, my blinds versus, obviously I hunted public a ton this year, and I think I only got to the blind 5 or 6 times, which kind of blows my mind. But it just worked out. I looked back, I was like, because I was talking with one of the guys, and they're like, oh man, I sure hope like you didn't feel like that was a bust, like you couldn't get out more. And I was like, dude, I hunted. My goal is 20 days. That's usually about where the limit my family life can handle. There wasn't a day. I think there was maybe one day where I was like, I probably should have gone today. But like I went every day I could have. There wasn't a day where I was like, man, I wish could go hunt, but there's just nowhere to go,
Yeah, and I know you find obviously time to make it out and everything, but even, with Thomas being as young as he is and Bennett is, a few months behind him, I felt like you got out, especially as busy as you are at work, you got out quite a bit, which I was surprised about. But, obviously makes things easier when you had, your couple rice blinds and whatnot. So.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I did good. I think we were talking offline. Ever since my first hunt, I've got the same Google Doc. It's just got more and more tabs for every year we hunt.
Yeah.
So it ended good. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and you took advantage of the Northeast too, which that's cool.
Yeah, and that's just a labor of love. Like you can go. I know a lot of guys have talked to me about going up there, and they're like, "Dude, I'll never go back." And It's just one of those things. It's like if you don't hunt it, you don't know. I mean, I hunted Sac and Delavan for years, and I'd walk out with a goose egg, and it's like, yeah, it's because I didn't put the time in yet, and just like any other refuge. I'm starting to realize that. Short of, if the birds are there, you can still come out with a goose egg. And if the birds aren't, so if you want to put in a little extra work, that's how you get some more birds and things like that.
Yeah. So overall, how would you grade, the season or your season? Maybe, I don't know if it's be the same.
I grade my season an A+. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I checked all my boxes. I shot almost a 5-bird average. My numbers.
Yeah.
I killed, I was trying to shoot 100 birds. That's always, and I'm not a goose hunter. I go after ducks. I think I only killed a couple of snows out with you that one hunt.
Yeah.
But so those are all ducks. I was super happy. I put in a lot of work. I will say, like, it's been cool now. Let's call it season 2 with the dog. Every year with the dog, my numbers get better. And I'm telling you, that's just because I'm not burning time getting out of the blind, chasing. It's like, because sometimes you only get 30, 40 minutes of a flight. But if you're chasing your birds yourself, you're spending 10 minutes, 15 minutes getting out of the blind, walking out there, coming back, sitting back down.
Getting resituated,
Get resituated.
Grab that drink of water, whatever it might be. Yeah, no, that's a great point. It actually would be kind of interesting. We should remember that for next year. Just maybe kind of find out how much time we actually do save running a pup versus not.
Yeah, because I bet you I can, on a bird when everything goes fairly right, just 80% right on a duck, my dog sees it goes down, whether he breaks or not, he gets the bird in his back next to me. It's got to be under a minute. Whereas some days it takes me a minute just to climb out of the pit.
Well, and especially, if you're taking advantage of that early shoot light flight, right?
And how many times did when you and I hunted, I'd be out there retrieving a bird and you'd be like, get down, get down, get down.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever even killed a bird when we did that. But
right.
It's like at the end of the day, those are opportunities that are wasted because we're wasting time trying to get our birds, which you have to do until you get a dog. So for me, like, this was like everything came together. The dog did really good for the amount of training and effort I put in. Like he's lights out in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Obviously there's better trained dogs out there, but it's what you put into it. So I'm very happy with it. And
dude, we talked a lot about him on the podcast, even early in the season, kind of saying how, like, he's still very young when it comes to, waterfowl hunting and stuff. And I'll be very frank with you, and honestly, it's been awesome having Rooster around the last few seasons. But like, there were a couple hunts where late in the season we were on some good hunts, but like just his behavior, that one time you're like, hey, I'm gonna walk him back and put him in the truck, right? But this season, dude, he's on it.
That was
you
an
know what I
all-time
mean?
low.
No, and he's on it. But once you get him going and get him on like that initial bird or two, and yeah, it's all good. Hey, we actually didn't chat about this. How was it after he got sprayed?
Oh, dude, this is terrible.
So what happened?
So
Because you had to ride home in the truck, but what happened when you got home? How'd you handle that?
I did a concoction of like baking soda and Dawn, but there was something else we were supposed to use, hydrogen peroxide, but we didn't have it.
Okay.
You're supposed to do it, and I guess, but my dumbass was like, oh, I'll just do 2/3 of the recipe and give it the old college try, which it cleaned them, but I guess the hydrogen peroxide with one of those other chemicals like helps bring it out. But we ended up taking him to like a professional groomer because he got sprayed right in the face. We basically were able to figure that out. And for those who don't know, we were walking out. And,
as I go and tell you for the listeners, is on that Delavan hunt after three guys.
Rooster's I mean, he's not like a leash dog. He's got a ton of energy. So I try to let him run on the way out to the blind just to air him out.
Yeah.
And like Chuck's dog walks right next to him, and I love it, but it won't work for my dog.
No, and we had a little bit of a hike, and remember, I was walking ahead of us, and I told you, like, hey, I was out of the corner of my eye, and I was like 90% sure it was a skunk, but I wasn't 100%, and I just gave you I gave you a heads up, but then you healed him, and he walked with us for, let's say, 100 yards, right?
Yeah, maybe it was plenty. I thought the skunk was long gone.
And so we were maybe 50 yards from where we were going to dip into the pond, and he took off thinking like, okay, he's just going to go run up again. And he jumped into the tules, and he never made a noise, a reaction, none of that stuff. But we started to smell it, and then all of a sudden that fog came around us from the spray. So like I was like, I'm getting in the water. Like I just had to walk away. And
it
honestly,
was so potent. I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah, it was obviously pretty bad, pretty fresh. And honestly, I was like, man, I don't want to smell this the whole hunt. And I know he was down on your side, but honestly, I couldn't smell anything until a couple times he came in, and we were in one of those like submerged log cabin blinds at Delavan. And a couple times he came down on my end of the blind
and said hi to you.
Yeah, just said hi, and then you get a whiff of it, and he left, and it was what it was. But yeah, I told you, I'm like, oh man, that's a bummer because you left your kennel at home that day. So.
I did. So he rode in the truck. So this is kind of the icing on the cake. So I think we were just getting used to it because it was horrible.
Okay.
I could not handle sitting next to him. Like it was we did all right that hunt as a group, but like it was pretty rough for me on the end. But
so you went to the professional.
I washed him. I take him to a professional, and we didn't even really say anything. Like this groomer is pretty cool. She just takes dogs, and Rooster's never even gone.
Yeah.
And Steph dropped him off, and I went and picked him up. And she's like, "Oh, did he get skunked?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, well." She's like, "If that ever happens, don't get him wet." So for your tips out there, I don't know how that works for duck hunting. But I guess if they get skunked, you don't want them to get wet right away. You want to wash it. Doesn't really help us for duck hunters. Like I'd still throw them in
Let's
the water.
lather them up before.
So it's still. She says it'll be in his coat for probably up to 6 months. And anytime he gets wet, so if it rains, our whole yard starts to smell like skunk. He brings it in our house. Oh, it's Steph is super happy.
So, dude, I'm obviously, I don't want to say like I've been around anyone that's been sprayed or whatever, but like I have, but not like around a water source like that. And that's interesting because I made the comment was like, I felt like every time he got wet, like he went on a retrieve and came back, the smell got worse, and then it dissipated or whatever, right? So that makes sense.
It was settling into his coat, I guess.
Wow. Oh man.
I'm like, so yeah, if it rained, like it rained the other day, it was right. Like, because he gets that, like, the wet dog smell. Wet dog smell is now like stale skunk smell. Super cool. So for all you duck hunters out there, if your dog gets skunked, there's nothing you can do unless you want to give up your hunt. But we all know that's not happening.
You know what? And I was thinking to myself, kind of a side note, but piggybacking off that story, is that actually ended up being a pretty good hunt for you. I know I got a couple that day, but I was thinking back to probably 5-6 years ago, one of our earliest hunts together, we walked out to a pond at Delavan and we saw the skunk on the way there.
It's the only place I see a skunk.
But remember we said, like, that's a bad sign for the hunt. And we ended up getting skunked that hunt. Like, we just sat out there for a few hours. And
I think I think there's an onyx pin in one of our, obviously. It's called the skunk.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. It's unavoidable. Obviously, like, I know guys leash their dog out there, and I've done that with you, I think, a few times. it doesn't work out for me in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they just sneak up, so it can happen to any of us. But cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you jump off because I know you're taking care of the boys today, but I am curious because I want to ask some of the guys, what's something that you're working on coming up, maybe outside of waterfowl, maybe something around the house that you've been putting off saying, hey, I'll wait till the end of duck season.
We could go on forever. That honey-do list is big. So
yeah, what do you
got?
I
told you offline. I just came back from Little League meeting where I'm supposed to be coaching my older son. By older, he's 6.
Yeah.
Well, league. Anyways, we could do a podcast on Little League once your kid gets in it because I love it. But dude, my 6-year-old who won't be 6, 7 until August of next year or August of this year has to play with 7-year-olds, he's a league age 7. Anyways, I'm coaching his team, and then my little guy's it's his first year, and they didn't have enough coaches sign up, and they were going to have something like 16 kids on every team. So I got roped into coaching another team. So I'm coaching those 2 teams.
Yeah, so your spring's full of managing Little League.
Yeah, that, and then I got a bathroom remodel that I put off for a year that I'm going to try and have done by March.
Nice.
So that's what I got on my plate. I got a concrete guy to cut my slab, and I'm going to put a whole new full bathroom in the back part of my house that years ago was converted from a 2-car garage into basically where my boys sleep now.
Yeah. Well, hey, speaking of your oldest, what's the plan for, I know we're coming up on junior weekend, but what's the plan? I know you've taken him out a couple times just to kind of let him hang out. What are your thoughts? When do you think you're going to take a peek at hunter safety and all that?
We have a guy up here that some of my he's taught a lot of our coworkers' kids, and he's certified or whatever the requirement is to be able to teach hunter safety. I'm curious though. I want to get the literature and see how he comprehends it.
Yeah. When do most kids? What 8, 9, 10?
I think 10's the number I hear. 9 and 10.
Okay, so yeah.
So he turns 7 in August, so that would put him. I think he could go out there. I wouldn't take him to a refuge, but I'd go to
go to your rice.
Mike's property.
Yeah.
Even actually, I'd go to Mike's property and hey. If I had the gun that fit him and everything was aligned, that would be the scenario. Yeah. Because he could stand on good footing.
Yeah.
I don't have a used shotgun. I'd love to chat with someone who has one because I had the 20 gauge, which is fine, but it's all about the stock. And I know they make those little single shots. I don't really want to do a 410.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of in that learning phase right now because obviously you and I learned as full-grown adults, so it wasn't. Yeah. There was no question.
No, but I think
it's cool. I think it's buy a gun for the sake of buying a gun.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, we'll fill it out at 7. I don't plan on having him going out there trying to harvest a bird at 7, but maybe get his license and at least get it under his belt. And then because I gotta look because I'm almost positive. I think I've said this on the podcast. I have Henry's lifetime, I have to look into that. I got to figure out what I did.
Yeah, I thought you did it.
But then Dean's coming around that point too, and I know there's an age bracket, so I got to get into that.
Right on. Well, before I let you go, you mentioned Mike there, and we'll give a little public pressure. I'm not sure if he listens to the podcast. I know he's checked in a couple times, but I know it's off season. We got to get Mike on here.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do. I've been bugging him about it. I know he's a big
so if you're
Spoon listener, so I know he's probably gathered a couple of these.
Yeah, so I know, Mike, if you're listening out there, Caeton and I are going to hit you up. It's coming into the off season. We just want to get you on here. So
yes, sir.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you run. Appreciate it, man, and we'll chat soon.
All right. See ya.
See ya. All right, guys. We got our buddy Landon Azevedo. How you doing, Landon?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can't believe, man, the season's already done.
Yeah, it's crazy. It seems like every year it's going a little bit quicker. It's crazy to think that I kind of started doing this at, well, I started going when I was 11 years old, but I mean, I've been doing it by myself now for pretty much 13 and 14 years. And it kind of seems like it all blends together. Like I can remember hunts and stuff from previous seasons. And when I really sit back and think about it, it's like, man, really that long ago already? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, man.
So,
well, how did this season compare to some of those previous seasons for you?
you know, it was good. I didn't finish the end of the season, like the last 2.5, 3 weeks, as strong with the ducks, but gosh, the geese really made up for it. I killed like 4 limits of specks in consecutive shoot days for myself and that kind of stuff. And then 2 or 3 of those shoot days, I had a buddy with me, and we were able to kill 20 specks on public and that kind of thing, which I can't even remember the last time I had an opportunity or really heard of guys doing that. So that was a really cool thing to finally experience, going out light and just setting up like 6 or 8 full bodies and decoying specks is kind of a cool deal, especially on a refuge. So
yeah, man, that's pretty cool because I mean, I'm sure you've heard there's a lot of talk about the spec limit being cut down, possibly for next season, down to maybe 5 or 6 birds, if that. And, you know, a lot of folks, especially in the guiding world, are welcoming that because, one, you know, obviously we all love specks. It's one of my favorite birds to put on the table. But, you know, it's a lot of pressure for the guides to go out there and get 10. And here you are knocking 10 down, you know, in consecutive hunts, man. So good for you.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. I think the other benefit from that is, I mean, it's like anything. You can watch the trends over the years of when the duck limit in California was 4 and 5 birds for a while. I think it really helps not educate the birds as much because you don't have guys sitting out there for long periods of time going, well, I only need 2 more, and then that turns into another 3 or 4 hours of hunting, or even staying all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you were saying you weren't able to either get out as much or just the season didn't quite close out the way that you had expected. But I know I saw you a handful of times this January. We went out to the Sportsman's Expo together, so it was good seeing you there. And then saw you closing weekend out at Clay's Club. But
yes, sir.
Overall, like how was the January for you?
January was still good. I still killed the ducks early.
Yeah.
The first like week and a half, I think maybe 2 weeks of January was good, and then the goose thing just gets addicting, man. Those specks and even the snows. I had a couple hunts that I got to do with a couple kids that I started taking out on the junior hunt 5 or 6 years ago, and I've gotten to watch them grow. And they said, hey, you know, we have this little club down in the South Grasslands, and there's big grinds of snows on both sides, and I think we could decoy these things in the fog. And so we went out there with a couple dozen snow full bodies and had those things doing the dance too. So that was super cool. But killing geese over water is just something that I haven't gotten to do a whole bunch. And they do it just like the mallard. So it was super cool. It was the same thing, but a little bit different, and you can kill a lot more of them. So
yeah. Speaking of getting those big birds, did you take advantage of the mute swan hunts at all in January or not yet?
You know, I did not get out on any of the mute swan hunts. That hunt that I did go help with up in that Napa Sonoma area that I was telling you about.
Yeah. Any of your clients do that?
The clients on that deal killed a pair of them that day. They flew right out in front of us, and I mean, they were only 25, 30 yards, and I think 4 guys did their guns, and we still had to clean them up on the water. Those birds are super duper tough birds. That's crazy to just watch them eat all those pellets, and their strength is just crazy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I can only imagine. Or maybe you could text me on the side a picture of what they look like as far as, you know, with your clients or with you guys, because those things are huge, man.
They are, and you know, it was funny. One of them was very much alive still, even after they tried to shoot him on the water and stuff. And they said, we should probably pull the boat out and go get that thing. And I said, hold on, like, let's see if the dog will catch up to him. Well, the dog finally caught up to him, but if that swan is working against your dog, like, the dog will struggle to even make it back to the boat. Like, they have no control, man. that thing was like a tugboat pulling my dog around. It was crazy. So it was funny. He was whining, trying to get back to us, and the swan was like had all kinds of resistance. And so finally, I was like, "Yeah, he's struggling, and we need to go take care of that." So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think they're close to 25 or 30 pounds each, which is
Wow.
yeah.
Man, that's insane. So
It is. It really was.
yeah. So overall, how was the season? I know we chatted a little bit, but overall, like what compared to seasons past, what if you had to put a grade on this season for you personally, what are your thoughts?
I would give this one. I would give this one probably somewhere in like the flat B to
Okay.
A minus range,
Okay.
somewhere in there. I know that's kind of
Yeah.
a vague deal, but it's like the weird part about this year is like, especially with the mallard thing, if you find a pile of them somewhere and you go in there and you shoot efficiently, usually you could get like, I would say at least 2 hunts out of it, but a lot of times like 3 or 4 good shoots out of it. And this year it was like you go in there, burn them, get done early, and then you could show up the next shoot day and things would be completely different. And it wasn't like they were just completely out of the country, but it was like they just got smart and they started using something a little bit different, like a little ways off the beaten path or just whatever. So it was kind of hard staying one step ahead this year and figuring out like what was going to fire next. Usually you can kind of figure out when these ducks start transitioning to watergrass, like what order they're going to use stuff in and that kind of thing. And this year it was kind of like hopscotch. Like they'd be in one area and then they'd leave it alone for 2 or 3 shoot days and then they'd be back in there. So it was kind of interesting. I don't think the duck numbers were really less or anything like that, but they were just a little bit more divided in where you were finding them. So
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting year, and to hear you kind of say like sometimes birds were where you expected, and some days they just get up and they would leave town or whatever, and it was interesting just with the weather, the fog, the temperature, all those different things that sometimes played in our favor depending on the day, or where you were in Northern California or even throughout the state, but. You keep hearing reports of it never really froze up north. And, then the fog that we were socked in for pretty much the better part of December. You hear birds that were getting all disoriented, right? And they were landing in places, and you were hearing reports of birds in certain parts of the Sac and Delta and Bay region where like, you don't normally see those birds out here.
Yeah, definitely.
And just the weather with the flooding, and obviously you spend enough time up here in the Sacramento Valley, just kind of, just with the clubs, the bypasses flooding out, and just it was just interesting, and it's not anything that we're not used to. It was just managing it or dealing with it, throughout the year. So.
Yeah, most definitely. And then like another thing to add on to that, kind of with you talking about it not ever really getting cold enough. One of my clients that I had when I was working in Idaho was still going back there at the end of the season, and so it's a 28 gauge only club, and he asked me to borrow a gun. So he went back there for the last 2 days of the season and shot my gun and stuff. And just when he got back, I said, "Hey, like, how did it go?" And he sent me pictures, and they were just absolutely thrashing them. And he said those ducks seem fresh up there. And I mean, here we are at the end of the season. It's like they were just getting there. So
yeah. Well, right on. Well, what does the off season look like for you, or
the off season for me is going to consist mainly of getting this younger dog that I have now caught up and up to speed. My 8-year-old dog handles well and everything. I can send him pretty much as far as I want to, as long as he's within earshot. This younger dog doesn't take hand signals yet or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to really grind here in these summer months to try to get him caught up to that, so that the difference between taking my 2 dogs isn't as much as it is right now. So
good for you. Are you going to be doing a lot of that yourself, or do you have someone that you work with, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, I sent, both of these dogs, their initial training was done with Rocha retrievers. My older dog, I got to train him on Rocha's facility because I was working for Rocha during the summertime when I was home from college and stuff back in like 2018, 2019. This dog, I sent him to Rocha for his just initial gun dog training while I was in Idaho at the end of this last season. And then I got him back from Jared and got to run him this season. And I will be doing all the training from here on out myself with him. So just, going to work on that casting stuff and then doing double and triple blinds and that kind of stuff. So
nice, man. Well, that's exciting, and obviously something to kind of look forward to this off season and stay somewhat connected to waterfowl for the next few months. So good for you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's always a journey seeing the little quirks and differences in these dogs. So I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah, man. Well, I really appreciate, well, one, it was good, meeting you this season and also good catching up. And I really appreciate you coming on for the Fowlers the last few months, just kind of giving your take and, kind of letting us know how things are going in your world. But, yeah, man, I look forward to hopefully seeing you sooner than later. And yeah, appreciate everything.
Absolutely, man. We'll stay connected in the off season, and I wish you the best with the podcast, and then we'll be in touch for this next year. So
sounds good, man. All right, well, hang tight for a sec.
Okay.
See ya. All right, guys, we got Colin Osier on here. Colin, what's up, buddy?
Not much, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Colin's coming to us live from somewhere out in the middle of the Central Valley, out there on I-5. He's making his move from Southern California up here to Sacramento. So how's the drive going, man?
It's bumpy and loud. I don't have Bluetooth or cruise control.
Yeah, driving a U-Haul, making the trek north, man. Well, good for you, man, and happy to get you up here in Sacramento. And I know we talked about it this past year. Looking forward to getting out with you next season.
Yeah, man, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm honestly really looking forward to some turkey hunting too, man.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be here before we know it too. But speaking of seasons, here we are kind of wrapping up 25, 26 waterfowl season. How was your overall season? I know we checked in every couple months or so, but how were things this past January? How'd you end up closing out?
Man, it's funny. The last time we chatted, I was like, well, that was it. I wasn't going to hunt the rest of January.
Yep.
And I had some extra PTO that I forgot about, so I snuck out 2 more times and did really good, man. There was like a lot of new birds in that part of the state, and it was just fun, like getting to see some people for the last time, getting to hunt with some people and make the rounds, It was a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah, man. I mean, for the listeners out there, make sure you follow Colin at The Sweat Line on Instagram. But yeah, I saw your post, I think from yesterday or today, just kind of, saying till we meet again or till next time, and kind of wrapping up. It looks like some of your hunting partners and buddies that you've met over the years down in Southern California. And, it's a long drive, but maybe they'll come up and hunt with you up north next season.
Oh, yeah, dude. And it's one of those things, like hunting buddies is like I got buddies 3,000 miles away that we still get together and hunt every year, every 2 years. So hunting's one of those things I feel like that makes it a little easier to travel to see people. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I was going to give you a hard time about that. You mentioned, hey, I'm getting ready to wrap it up. I don't know how much in January I'm going to be able to get out. And good for you, man. You were able to get out quite a bit. But what was really cool was it looked like you had a lot of success in January.
Yeah, man, it was good. Everyone's was talking about like it wasn't a bad year by any means. I didn't go out as much, but it did seem like a weird year. Like the birds just were doing different things than they have the last couple of seasons I've been in Southern California. But it definitely ended on a strong suit for sure.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And it's funny. I was talking a couple other buddies, and I talked to my buddy Caeton earlier. Kind of said the same thing. Whereas we really don't have any complaints. I think the theme is we didn't get out as much as we wanted, but we got out more than we expected. The hunts were all pretty good. I mean, obviously we had some slower hunts, but no complaints. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was like this year. It was like the year of the pintail and the gadwall, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's been other seasons where like numbers wise I killed more birds, but it was typically teal and snooties. And this year was just like, I didn't go as much, but I still averaged 4 birds a hunt, which I think is I was really proud of that. Like that to me is like a good year.
Yeah.
But a lot of gadwall and a lot of pintails.
Yeah, good for you. Did you ever get your full limit of sprig?
I never did, man.
Yeah, no, me neither.
It's especially down there. They seem to always work late, and I would always end up getting. That would be like my second to last or my last bird.
Sure. Yeah.
Pintail.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what I mean? You kind of have to be like, hey, let's knock our sprig off the limit first. Then you can kind of fill the rest of your strap, with any other 4. But yeah, that's a great call out there where it's like, hey, if, you're sitting at 6 birds and you already have 1 sprig, you're not going to get to that 3 sprig limit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, but I wasn't too worried. Like especially free roam on public, I'm like. Unless it's like really crazy, I'm probably going to take what I can get,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, I'm excited to get you up here. I'm looking forward to next season. I think it'll be really cool because, like, you obviously got out, I don't want to say quite a bit, but obviously just following along Instagram. We were texting kind of back and forth. I know that you basically, not to burn your spots, but spent a lot of time going up to the Kern. But I think with all the different opportunities up here, I'm really eager to kind of see what public land pulls you in next season, and whether you stay local and hunt YOLO, or if you head up to Sac Valley, do some of the national ones or some of the smaller state ones. I'm really looking forward to finding out.
Yeah, man, I'm really stoked. I pulled it up too. I keep track of my stats throughout the season.
Yeah.
So this past year, I averaged 4.2 birds a hunt, 47% shooting, which not great, but I'm blaming the fog. And then 14 hunts for 60 total birds.
Okay, good for you. Nice. Yeah, I still have to dive into the stats there. You mentioned the shooting percentage. Do you use North American waterfowler? What are you using to track your stats?
Yep, North American waterfowler.
Yeah.
And I think it's not much. It's a couple bucks a month.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And,
no, I have it as well.
To me, it's worth it just because the other thing it does is like I can keep track of the weather and wind and like really specific stuff. And then you can kind of see some trends over time.
Yeah, what I liked about it was I wasn't posting much on Instagram in years past of like, my hunting and my game pursuits and stuff. But what I like about that app there is you can upload a picture or two of your hunt. And normally it was just like a team photo with the guys, or maybe it was a picture of the harvest, but that was kind of cool to capture as well.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I think that's important too, is just like having those memories. Because, there's also a lot of hunts that you think back on and like, you might not actually remember the birds. You just kind of remember who you were with.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So cool, man. Well, I guess what are you looking forward to this off season? I know you mentioned we got turkey season, you got spring season coming up. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yep, and then never done tree work in Northern California. That's what I do for a living. I'm ready to. I'm going to be working in Grass Valley, so I'm ready to cut some big ass trees down, dude.
Yeah.
Kind of pumped about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, once again, man, check out Colin's Instagram. He posts, some videos and reels from work. And if you're not afraid of heights or not worried about getting vertigo or whatnot, go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, it'll be cool, man. I'm excited. It's something I've wanted to do since I was a kid.
That's cool.
Finally making it happen.
That's cool. Well, what else you got coming up this off season? I know obviously you got your move, the big move up north, but just kind of getting situated in the new place. Is that kind of the plan the next few weeks?
Yep, getting situated, and then start looking into like turkey season. Really want to try and do some striper fishing.
Yep.
Never really done much of that, so that'll be cool. And then just like ready to go do some camping. LA was a great adventure, but to go do outdoorsy stuff, you pretty much had to have all day or a whole weekend, just in order to get out of the city. So
yeah, man, not
having it in my backyard.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean, especially if you're heading up to Grass Valley and stuff, my advice, just throw a rod in the car, and you never know, after work or whatnot, you can go hit one of the back lakes up there, or just, head another half hour to an hour up the foot Sierras there and just explore, man. Get lost up there.
Yeah, I'm ready, dude.
Very cool, very cool. Well, right on, man. Well, it was good catching up. You listening to For the Fowlers on the road, or what's keeping you entertained on I-5?
Dude, I've been listening to FM radio, brother.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're in the U-Haul. Yeah.
All the hits from the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s.
Yeah, I know. Driving those U-Hauls, especially out in that part of the state, man, you're having to change the station every 50 miles, it seems like.
Yep. But it's been good. I found a couple classic country stations, which is nice.
Yeah.
Switch it up a little.
Yeah, I think when you get into Sacramento, I listen to a lot of, obviously, Spotify now and whatnot, but yeah, if you like country, I think it's 105.1 as you get a little closer, and then 103.3 should be coming in too.
Oh, shit, dude.
So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man. We'll have to, dude. Last thing, are you shooting late season goose?
I am not. No opportunities. I didn't sign up for any sort of guided hunts or anything like that. So, at least,
if anybody hears this and wants to help a brother out,
yeah,
hit me up, dude. I'll come prune your fucking palm tree or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Colin will do some work on your property. If anyone has an opportunity out there, reach out to him at the sweat line, and then, yeah, if you have an extra spot, let me know at For the Fowlers. I'll come out too.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, cool, man. All right, well, safe travels, and let's get together when you get all settled in.
Absolutely, man. I'll probably hit you up this weekend.
Sounds good, buddy. All right, man. We'll chat.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, guys. We got our last guest of the episode here. We got Houn from Foulmouth TV joining For the Fowlers again. What's up, Houn?
Nothing much, man. Hanging in there. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's been a while since we've chatted. I know we've been texting a little bit. How's the season been? Or, well, how was the season? I guess we're done now. Sorry.
Yeah. No, the season, I think the last time I was on the channel, I was probably smack dab in the middle of waiting on our field to get stomped.
Yeah.
And then we were having some issues with that. But I want to say maybe a week after I did I was on the show, we finally got stomped. And then it took about a week after we got stomped for the birds to show up. And then it turned on. It was like a light switch. And so that mid-December, I think it was about December 16th or 17th when it really turned on for us. And, man, we had some good shooting.
Yeah, man. I was following along all season on Instagram, and it seemed like every time you went out, there was a nice picture or pile of birds on the way out. So good for you, man. And yeah, I mean, you seem to be describing it just as it seemed. It like a light switch went off for you guys. So that's awesome. Because I know it was a little bit of a late start, obviously, too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were chomping at the bit, and we were hoping that the birds didn't pass us up, because it was foggy. We had that fog for, 3-4 weeks in a row. And
yeah,
there's a lot of things we were worried about, but ended up coming out on top. So
yeah,
definitely happy about that.
Nice. And rest of your crew did good as well.
Yeah. A lot of firsts for a lot of the guys. We had our youngest hunter, Owen. He shot his first limit. He's 12.
Oh, that's awesome.
He shot.
What season is this for him? First season? Second?
This is his second season.
Okay, nice.
And he got to shoot a banded pintail.
Awesome.
The only band out of our blind. So ended up being a stud of a pintail. I think it was about 5.5 years old.
Good for him.
So that went off to the taxidermist, and a couple of us just hit good amounts of limits. I think Sean led the blind with the most limits, but everybody got a chance to shoot, quite a few limits for sure.
Yeah. Hey, and I want to, dive into your little memory here a little bit, because I know I texted you about it, and for those of you guys that watch Houn's channel, you saw this, but talk to me about that Scotch triple.
Oh yeah, man, that Scotch triple was crazy. You know, I was sitting at 4 birds. Now this was now mind you, if going back to earlier in our conversation, that our blind had just like a light switch that had turned on. So we had hunted our blind a few times since we got stomped. And then it hadn't, like I said, it was still slow. So we were still wondering, like, man, is our blind going to be shit this year? So I had to fly out of state for Christmas break. And so I got off of work one morning, and I worked night shift. So I got off at, 4 a.m. in the morning, drove up 2 hours. And I just said, hell, I'm going to hunt one more time before I leave. And man, I got into the area, and all I can do is just hear birds when I got out of the truck. And I said, hey, it's going to be a good day. So ended up, man, birds were everywhere. And, I was missing some opportunities, and some birds got away from me, wounded them. And I was sitting at 4 birds, and man, this group of teal came by, and I pulled up and aimed for the lead bird. And just so happened as I shot, the 2 other birds aligned with it and ended up with a Scotch triple. And I was so tired from running around in the mud that day that I couldn't even really celebrate it,
Yeah.
But I was like, I was lucky to catch it. I was lucky to catch it on film. And then, looking back at it, I was like, man, that was pretty cool,
Yeah, and it's funny, you're more familiar with the YouTube scene than I am, but in your title there, I think you even mentioned like the triple or whatnot. I'm like, I got to check this out. Not that I was doubting it, but I'm like, I got to see this. And sure enough, and your camera caught it, which is awesome. Not that anyone would doubt, but it's just cool that you have that memory now too.
Yeah, and I hit a lot of, and this year was a first for me. I don't think I've ever hit a Scotch double or a Scotch triple before this season. And this season I think I had like 4 or 5 Scotch doubles this season.
See, so now as you get later in your limit, you're like, all right, I got to make sure maybe hit that tail bird or something, not the lead bird.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Cool. Well, yeah, I didn't know that. We chatted last time, but that you work nights and everything. So I know I've seen on your channel you do a lot of solo hunts. So that makes sense, and good for you being able to kind of get out there after work and take advantage of those morning hunts and those weekdays and stuff like that. So that's awesome, man. So, well, once you got off and running, you got stomped, you got your water. I mean, it seems like things turned on. Did you primarily hunt your rice blinds, or did you get out to any public land after your fields were ready to go?
Yeah, we didn't hunt much. We didn't hunt any public land really. Once our field got stomped,
okay.
I mean, our blind was producing enough to where we didn't have to go out elsewhere. And it was kind of hard. It's kind of hard to leave the blind to go. You hear John say,
don't leave ducks to chase ducks, right?
Yeah. So I want to say I kept my numbers over the season, and I think out of the blind, if I'm correct, I had a 4.5 bird average over the season just out of the blind alone.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of hard to leave that and go search elsewhere when our blind was doing so good. So they didn't get to any public land.
Well, that's good. And that's, I mean, obviously we hear folks that, the rice turns on, turns off, especially like in January, just the rice stops producing, but that's good for you that, you were able to make the most of those opportunities.
Yep.
So, well, cool. So what else is going on? What's on deck for the off season? Well, I guess before the off season, are you going to take out some juniors next weekend?
Well, I'll be working next weekend, but our junior hunter Owen will be going out next weekend. Not sure on where we're gonna take him. We have our blind set up for the junior weekend. I think we're gonna do some scouting as far as if there's birds in the area before they figure out where they want to go. But definitely they'll be getting him out. Sean and Logan will be chaperoning him, so they'll be calling for him, and hopefully he can knock him down.
Yeah, let's hope so. Go get him, Owen. So what does the off season look like? Like or spring? Are you big into turkey? Do you do fishing, or do you just kind of spend some time with the family? A little bit of everything. What's the next few months look like for you?
No, yeah, definitely fishing is on the horizon. Gonna try to hammer the halibut as much as we can.
Nice.
And then maybe, get on some catch and release sturgeon. And we have talked about getting on turkey. And so hopefully we can make that happen this upcoming spring. And then basically I got a couple birds that I got to get mounted. I shot a nice Drake mallard that I wanted mounted. And then I'm pretty sure you may have seen my Instagram post. I shot a canvasback.
Oh, I did. Yep.
Yeah. So that's got to go on the wall too.
Very cool.
So I'm going to dump some money into that, and we'll see how those turn out.
Yeah. How's the channel been? How's that been? You've been getting some good footage out there in the field, but
yeah, and I got some footage that I gotta put together. Definitely got too tied up in a lot of things during the season where I couldn't put out the videos and stuff like that. But I got a bunch of footage that I gotta put together and put out. So I'll get on that soon, and then me and Logan and Sean will start sitting down and start talking about our season and talking about a lot of the things that we learn and seen and some of our bumps and bruises. Even though we had a pretty successful season, we did run into some just learning.
Yeah.
You do it every season, learning opportunities and, things that, we compared to last year that worked for us that didn't, so we'll be getting that content out and
nice, man.
Letting people hear our learning opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I was texting you throughout the season. Every time a video would come out, man, they're fire videos. I like them. I like the ones, obviously, like, I don't know if you call them in studio or whatnot, where you guys are sitting around the table, but then even some of your hunt videos. And I actually liked kind of your, I don't know what you call it, but the ones you were doing just kind of driving home from the blind, Those were cool too.
Yeah, call them the roadcast.
Yeah, the roadcast. That's what it was. Yeah. Those are cool, man. So.
Yeah, I think next year I'll do a little bit more of that, especially with some of the guys in the truck. It'll be a lot. It's hard for me to just talk by myself, but when it's me and one of the other guys, we can really get the conversation flowing.
No, yeah, it was cool. It's a different format, and I liked it. I'm sure a lot of other viewers liked it too. So.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, hey, I appreciate it, man. Can't thank you enough for coming on earlier this season and, coming on, this evening. And yeah, it was good meeting you this season. And yeah, hopefully we can get together. Maybe I'll take you up, invite myself on a halibut trip or something, because that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. But, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely we can link up
let's stay in touch and, not wait till next season to get together or something. So,
yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, hang tight and we'll wrap this up.
Yep.
All right. See ya. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be the last guest of the episode. Really appreciate everyone who we were able to get a hold of this week. And, hope all the listeners out there had a wonderful season. And, man, can't believe it's over. But, yeah, if anyone's getting out in any juniors next weekend, hopefully the little ones have a great hunt, and hopefully we see some success out there for late season as well for those snows. So, yeah, don't forget to rate and review this podcast wherever you might be listening, Apple, Spotify. Give us a follow on YouTube as well, and we will catch up with you next time.